What's going on, y'all? It's your boy SlAtE D Biggs for Anime MCS, here to correct my opinion on listeners, officially. So this is kind of a faux anime review. I wouldn't call it a full series review. I can't say that it'll be that articulate. I'll try my best to break down why I was so hype about this series and why it was just such a huge letdown for me personally. I'm not the only person that feels this way either. Its scores dropped significantly on the rating sites. At the beginning of the spring season, I made a video titled, Listeners, the underdog of the spring 2020 series, because no one was talking about it. And at that point, I don't think hating on the anime at all was warranted. I thought the first episode was solid. That's what made me want to make the video, because I was like, man, this looks like it could have a lot of potential. Why aren't people talking about it? There's something they saw that I didn't, because I was just looking at it with like nostalgia goggles, like, holy shit, this reminds me of Eureka 7, and it's like intrinsically fused with music. I fucking love music. Yes. Overall, I enjoyed the character designs. I thought everything looked great about the show and sounded great. That's actually probably the one thing I will ever go back to involving this show is the music that was in the series. It was well crafted. I liked the music references. Some of the characters had interesting designs, but overall there wasn't a deepness to them. I didn't talk much about the main characters in this little faux anime review, and that's because I don't think there's much to say about them. Echo is, I'll give it to him. He's not as annoying as a lot of the other annoying, side characters or protagonists can be, such as, Rocky. I think his name was Rocky in Claymore. Fuck that dude. Rinten from Eureka 7 can be a whiny bitch sometimes. Shinji Ikari, notorious whiny bitch. Echo kind of played that character, but not as bad. He actually had some heart. I'll give him that. Echo was decently likable, but Mew, I did not care for Mew at all. Mew did just not appeal to me at all. I didn't care for her. It's hard for a character to be anything but shallow when she doesn't have any memories of who she is even. But overall, I just thought, she's there. The animation was great. Everything looked good about the series. So I had high hopes. I mean, the only thing that was kind of was the CG robots. But I've come to accept that that's just the way a lot of robots and mechs are going to be animated. It throws you off a little more when it's a human sometimes. It feels very robotic and not as it's not as fluid as 2D animation. They still got to get their shit together when it comes to the CG models. But it looks good on robots. So I could get past that pretty easily. But dear God, did they even write the story from start to finish to begin with? Or did they just come up with a concept and start spitballing off of it? Because this series is confusing. At some points, it's very hard to follow. First episode, like I said, seemed pretty solid. I was enjoying it. I was like, fuck yes. Let's just see if it gets better from here. Because there are still little hints of maybe I don't know about this, but who knows? It could be the sleeper hit. No, it wasn't at all. Second episode, I considered dropping it. But I made a promise to myself that I was going to watch through every single series that I started.
And boy, was that a huge mistake.
I wanted to see if this train wreck could get back on course. And by, episode 10, 11, the last episode 12, I was like, it's not happening. I just wasted my time with this, didn't I? And on the last episode, the series straight up tries to tell you, what you should take away from this. This show was about the connections along the way. When I didn't feel like any of the characters, except for Light and Richie, were really that, connected. And then the ending was just ridiculous. Speaking of the ending is what cements this as a show that I thought truly had a lot of potential, and then it just all fell apart. They split this last episode into two different episode things. It was weird. And the last one, I think his name was Lied. The other one's name was Richie for sure. They show up at like a player school where Nier is attending, and it's like, why? Are they still studying being players for the sport? Because there is a sport aspect to player fighting that wasn't showcased in the series, which is what I thought it was going to be about. I was like, wow, the giant robot fights, it's going to be really cool. And when I saw the earless, I was like, wow, that looks whack as fuck. Maybe they won't be around that much. But anyway, why I was talking about them showing up at the school is because why the fuck are they going to school? Like, they're not high school age, they're adults. Is it like some kind of college, where like you can attend at any time, you don't have to be a certain age? That probably explains that. But also, why are they alive? It was actually like the best episode of the series was when you thought they died. It was a huge impact. It showed their graves, That was probably one of the moments of the series I was like, maybe it will be worth watching. But then it just went downhill again. I don't want to shit on it too much. It's not objectively bad. I'm sure there's people out there that enjoyed it a lot and loved it, but it just felt like an extreme disappointment to me. The OST, the soundtrack, is definitely worth checking out. And for what it's worth, it's beautifully animated, but I would never go back and rewatch this show. And I actually wouldn't even recommend it to anyone. It felt like a waste of time to me. You can just go watch Eureka 7, or you can watch an actual, like, music-oriented anime and get a lot more out of it. That's my opinion anyway. I wanted to correct it. The video that I made only had like 8 views, but the point is there's fucking 8 people out there that thinks that I loved listeners, and I have to let you know that that is not the case. Anyway, if you got to the point in this video, I greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching. Seriously, it's dope that I can talk about anime and manga that I'm passionate about. Whether I passionately love it or I passionately hate it. And people watch it. It's awesome. So support the channel, subscribe to keep up with more dope anime and manga related content. And I will see you next time. Peace.